Imagine, for a moment, that you've lost everything you loved. Suddenly, the world around you becomes a reflection of emptiness, and you don't know how to move forward. This is the case with George Miller. At 68, he had lived most of his life alongside Anna, his wife, who was his companion, his best friend. But when she passed, something inside him broke. He no longer knew how to continue. Every corner of the house, once filled with laughter, now reflected his pain and loneliness. He shut himself off from the world, stopped taking care of himself. Days passed by in a blur, as if a fog had settled around him. In the midst of that grief, he sank deeper into a darkness that seemed impossible to escape. If you believe that the power of love can pull us out of the darkness, hit the like button and subscribe now. Don't miss stories like this. Get ready for a journey that will touch your heart. Emily, his daughter, noticed how much he was distancing himself from the world. She tried calling him several times, but his responses were cold, as if he were somewhere far away. She didn't know what to do until she made a decision. She would go to her father's house. But she wouldn't go alone. She took Sophie, her 10-year-old daughter, with her, hoping to bring at least a little bit of light to that dark house. When they arrived, what they found was devastating. The house, once full of life, was now unrecognizable. Silence. Emily, seeing the memories of Anna, family photos, moments of joy, felt a deep pain, as if the loss hit her all over again. Tears started to fall, not just for missing her mother, but for seeing her father so lost, so alone, so directionless. Sophie, noticing the sadness in her grandfather's face, gently touched his hand and said, "Grandpa, I'm so sorry for Grandma. But when I think of her, I just remember her smile." Sophie, full of energy and innocence, approached her grandfather. "Grandpa," she said with a shy smile, "I know you're sad, and I'm really sorry. But did you know that if we take care of something, it can grow? I saw that in my school book. Let's plant flowers in Grandma's garden. It'll be good for us." George, initially skeptical, looked at his granddaughter with a look of pain. "Sophie, you don't understand. There's no way to change this. Grandma's life is over. There's nothing more to do." Sophie, without hesitation, replied, "I know, Grandpa. But plants, they need care, patience. They know how to wait. And you can help me, I know you can." The sincerity in Sophie's eyes made George pause. It was as if, for a moment, he was transported back to a time when he still had hope. Still, feeling defeated, he answered, "Okay, let's try. But don't expect much from me or the plants." What seemed like a simple task soon became something much more meaningful. The seeds were planted, but more than that, George began to realize something. Every action, every movement in the garden made him feel alive again. When Sophie shouted, "Grandpa, look. A little plant is growing," he felt something stir inside him. It wasn't just the garden that was coming back to life. He, too, was beginning to feel lighter, stronger. Sophie, with her childlike heart, was right. The garden wasn't just about flowers, it was about new beginnings. George started stepping out of his comfort zone. The man who had spent so much time not caring about the world was now tending to the plants with a care that seemed long lost. As the garden bloomed, something was changing within him. He looked at his granddaughter and saw in her the strength, the will to keep going. Emily, seeing the change in her father, couldn't believe it. She asked, "Dad, what's happening? You're so different." George, with a shy smile, answered, "I don't know, honey. But somehow I feel like the plants are showing me something." Despite the visible transformation, George was still battling his inner demons. The pain of loss, the memories of his wife, they still haunted him. But with Sophie by his side and the garden blossoming day by day, he began to realize that maybe life still had more to offer. He started to understand that healing didn't come suddenly, but slowly, just like the plants he was nurturing. Emily also helped in the garden. She felt that by caring for the space where her mother had once been, she was somehow keeping her memory alive. And together, father and daughter, they were rediscovering the value of presence. But what was truly healing George was simply being there, with Sophie by his side, sharing something he thought he had lost. Over time, George's garden became more than just a beautiful space. It became a symbol of transformation. George was no longer the isolated, sorrowful man who had reached that point. He began opening up to his family, reconnecting with the world. Sophie, with her optimism and simplicity, helped him find his way back. When the garden had fully bloomed, Emily was left speechless. "Dad, you did it," she said, moved by emotion. George looked at the colorful flowers around him and said, "No, sweetheart. It wasn't just me. It was your love, it was patience, it was the care of a granddaughter who showed me that there's always a chance to start over." George's transformation wasn't just about the garden. It was about him rediscovering his will to live, to believe in the future again. And all of this was possible thanks to Sophie, the granddaughter who brought light to the darkness. Together, they showed that family love has the power to heal, to give strength when everything seems lost. George's garden is more than just flowers. It's a metaphor for how, with patience, love, and faith, we can bloom again, even in the toughest moments of life. This translation keeps the emotional tone intact while making it relatable to the U.S. audience, with cultural nuances such as the idea of healing through family support, hope, and nature. The language is simple and direct to connect with a wide range of viewers. If you need any further adjustments, feel free to let me know.